Well guys, if you've been anywhere on the internet last few weeks, you're gonna see there's a lot of videos about the 2020 recession. Everybody's talking 2020 recession. It's not just on YouTube, it's on the internet in general, it's on financial news channels and whatnot. And so many people are talking about a recession coming in 2020 or its potential and what should you do to prepare for it and what should you do when we have the recession? How bad will it be? And all these sorts of things. There's so many people talking about it that I thought it was worth at least addressing the 5 core reasons on why this is getting so much attention right now, okay? Now, we first talked about a possibility of a recession in 2020 about 6 or 7 months ago on the main channel, far before anybody had even mentioned the words recession 2020. And in that particular video, I went into why there was potential, like a 70% potential to have a recession in 2020, okay? So let's go ahead and talk about this a bit. Make sure you smash the thumbs up button as always. Like, why are so many people talking about a 2020 recession now? There's many different groups of people that either want a recession coming in 2020, or maybe they don't necessarily want it, but they feel like it's going to happen and for certain reasons, okay? So let's get into those 5 core reasons, because there are 5 core reasons at the end of the day why people are talking about this, okay? The first reason number 1, has to do with 10 years, okay? What does 10 years mean? Well, it's been 10 years since we had a recession, and when you're talking about 10 years, maybe even coming up on 11 years now, since the last recession, remember we came out of last recession in 2009 on a technical basis, although a lot of people didn't feel like we actually were out of the recession until 2010, 2011. On a technical basis, we came out in 2009. There's usually a recession, if you look historically, about every 7 to 8 years roughly. So when you start coming up on 10, 11 years since the last recession, people are going to start thinking, hey man, we're due for a recession. It's been more years than in the past since we had our last recession. So it's just like human nature to kind of think, well, if a certain amount of time has passed since the last time this thing has happened, then it has to be coming soon. Okay, it's 7 to 8 years, we're on 10, 11 years now. It's got to be coming soon, man. It's got to be coming soon. And it's just human nature. And so everybody in general is just kind of worried about this, and they're talking about this, and they're like, when's the next recession coming? It's got to be coming soon, man. We're due. Like, the odds are just stacked against us now, man. We have to be having a recession coming sometime soon, man. It just has to happen, okay? And sometimes when you have all these people talking about it, it leads to even more people talking about it. Now, I will say, I actually prefer a situation where a lot of people are scared about a recession or worrying about a recession rather than a situation where no one's worried about a recession. That's a time period I would personally be very scared in, okay? If everybody was just talking about how grand things are going to be and why the economy was about to boom even more and why there won't be a recession, that would actually personally worry me a bit. The fact that we have so many people talking about the possibility of a recession or why they think we'll have a recession in 2020 or something like that, when I hear that, it actually makes me sleep better at night. You know what I mean? You would think it would be opposite. You hear all those worries and it make you get freaked out. For me personally, I feel better hearing all these people talking about a 2020 recession, okay? But that's the bottom line. Like it's been 10 years, it's been a long time, and people, it's just human nature. Like, people are like, okay, it usually happens every 7 to 8. We're over 10 years. It's got to be coming soon, okay? So that's one of the main reasons you're hearing so many people talking about the possibility of a recession, okay? Reason number 2 why a lot of people are talking about a 2020 recession is because something happened very recently, which is basically an inverted yield curve, okay? And basically, when the 2 and 10 year invert, usually it means a recession's coming. Usually it means within 2-year span, sometimes even within a 1-year span, whenever the yield curve inverts, it means a recession's coming, okay? It's what they call a recession indicator, a statistic that is usually proven right. And the fact is, like, usually when the yield curve inverts, the recession's coming very, very soon after, okay? So very recently, the yield curve inverted, and so a lot of people are freaked out about that, okay? So you go ahead and you compound the fact that it's been over 10 years since we had the last recession. Then you go ahead and add in the fact that the yield curve just inverted, and now you got a situation where people are like, okay, yield curve just inverted, that means a recession's coming within the next year or two, and it's been a long, long time since we had a recession. So we're due, the yield curve inverts, okay, man, the recession's coming, okay? And so you get a lot of people starting to think, okay, this is a sure thing. And a lot of people believe deeply in these type of recession indicators, and if something happens like the yield curve inverts, they're like, dude, a recession's coming, okay? So those are 2 reasons right off the bat, okay? Then you add in this 3rd reason, okay? Which is essentially around corporate earnings, okay? Around corporate earnings. So essentially what we've seen is most corporate earnings are down year over year, especially a lot of the businesses that are international businesses, and especially a lot of the companies that do business in China. So which means, usually corporate earnings are growing. Usually company profits are going up. So when they're going down, it's another big indicator that you could be already in recession or you could be going to recession very soon. And what a lot of people worry about is if you have all these companies' earnings contracting, profits going down, then a lot of folks worry about, okay, companies might stop hiring and maybe even companies start firing off positions, because if you're not going to make any money at the end of the day, then something needs to happen. You either need to drop employees or maybe stop hiring or focus your business on something else. And for a lot of executives out there, a lot of times if their business is going down, the answer is let's fire employees or let's stop hiring, let's stop adding costs. Okay, that's not always the right decision, but for a lot of CEOs out there and a lot of executives in general, that's the decision they make. Okay, so people see corporate earnings going down, they're like, man, corporate earnings are going down. That's going to have to mean jobs are going to be cut soon, right? Or companies are going to slow down majorly on hiring, which is going to hurt the workforce, which could be a domino effect to the negative. And once this company starts firing some employees, and that leads this company to start firing some employees, and that leads this company over here to fire even more employees. And it's kind of like the dominoes rolling the wrong way, right? In the economy, jobs are everything, okay? Jobs are everything, because the more money this worker has over here in a job, guess what? He can start paying taxes on that, and he can start spending that money. It creates another job and another job and another job. And when you have those dominoes going up, it's a great thing. But when you have corporate profits going down and the potential that corporations could cut jobs because those profits are going down and those EPSs are going down, because keep in mind, the executives have to answer to the shareholders. If the shareholders are unhappy, they're going to vote out the board of directors. The board of directors is who decides who are the executives at a company. So the board of directors has to push pressure on executives, and executives have to answer for something to get those profits back up. And if they can't grow the business, then sometimes that means the next answer is actually firing employees. So you add these three things on, and you're going to have a lot of people getting really freaked out, okay? That's the bottom line. You add these three together, the fact that we were due for a recession, technically. You throw in the fact that we have an inverted yield curve. You throw in the fact that corporate earnings are going down. And then there's two other things we could add on, the whole tariffs and the trade war right now, okay? You throw on tariffs and trade war on top of that with corporate earnings going down, an inverted yield curve, and the fact that you haven't had a recession in longer than usual. When you throw all these things on, you're going to get a lot of people talking about the potential of a recession coming sometime soon, maybe in the back half of this year in 2019 or at some point in 2020. It's just the way it is, okay? And there's good reason on why people should be talking about a 2020 recession. There's good reason. If you just add in all that, the tariffs, the trade war, and all these three things, it makes sense, okay? Now, reason number 4 and reason number 5 are a little different, and they're different agendas from different people, and both of them I call wish situations, okay? Number 4 is you have a certain amount of individuals out there that are wishing there will be a recession in the US, if not in the overall global economy, okay? Now, why are some certain individuals wishing there's a recession? Well, there's a lot of cash on the sideline right now, okay? For number 4, there's a lot of cash on the sideline. So you have a lot of folks out there with a lot of cash on the sideline wishing for a big recession. Why do they want a big recession? Well, if they have a lot of cash on the sideline and there's a big recession, well, then they can go and buy stocks for usually a lot cheaper than they could have previously, right? Real estate prices, if it's a really, really big recession, a lot of times real estate prices will even drop, okay? So somebody can go buy a bunch of real estate investment properties. So you have certain individuals out there that are cash loaded right now that have been sitting on money and are wishing a recession would happen, because the price of assets almost always goes down in a recession scenario. It's just a question of how much do asset prices go down. Do stocks drop 10% on average? Do they drop 20% on average? Do they drop 50% on average? Real estate, does real estate drop 3%, 5%, 10%, 20%? How much do real estate prices drop? So you have these individuals out there that have been wishing, some of these individuals have been wishing for a long, long time that there would be a recession so they can go out there and deploy their their money. There are certain individuals that just stack cash and they wait for that recession. But the meanwhile, like everybody else is getting gains and their asset prices are increasing, and these individuals are just waiting on that, okay? But it is a strategy, and you do have a certain amount of individuals out there that are waiting for that opportunity, okay? And that brings us to number 5. You have another group of individuals that are wishing a recession happened, okay? The first time I saw this with my own eyes was when we were going into like the 2012 presidential election. And what I was finding is there was a lot of agendas from like the Republican side of people kind of like secretly wishing we had a recession. Why would they hope that? Well, if you're going into a presidential election, it's almost an automatic that the person will be kicked out of the office if the country's in a recession. I think only one time in the history of the United States has there been a recession and the person who was in office got reelected. I believe it's only one time in the history of the United States if you looked it up, okay? So basically meaning if there's a recession, whoever is the president of the United States at that particular time going into that election is more than likely going to get kicked out of office and somebody's going to come in their place, because at the end of the day, we're economy driven, and if people aren't feeling good about their jobs and about their money and things like that, and that means their house and their safety and their family, then they're going to want somebody new in office, okay? So what I found in that election was there was a lot of like Republicans who secretly wanted the economy to kind of go down, so then Mitt Romney could go ahead and get elected and we could get a Republican in office. And I'm seeing the same exact thing, but now on the Democratic side. There are a lot of Democrats who secretly, deep down, want the economy to go into recession simply so Trump can get out of office and so a Democrat could come in and take control. Because once again, let's say there's a recession that happens in the next 6 to 12 months. I highly doubt Trump would get reelected because he came into a pretty good economy. And then if the economy is all of a sudden in recession, everybody and their grandma is going to point at that and say, it's your fault, Trump. You initiated the trade war and the tariffs and blah, blah, blah. Everybody will blame him, and it'll be a super easy election to win from the Democratic side. So this is what always happens, you know, because there's elections, presidential elections every 4 years, and you're going to have some individuals that, I mean, I've even seen it where some of these folks are you know, flat out saying it. Like a lot of people feel like it deep down, they're like, man, I wish the economy was just going through recession so-and-so could get elected into office. But I've even seen some people as brazen to go out there and do interviews and say things like, man, I wish there'd be a recession just so we could get Trump out of office. It's what I've seen out there, and it's just what happens. So you have all these different agendas. You have some serious things going on in the economy that are worth addressing and worth talking about. Man, maybe we're going down the route of a recession, and maybe a recession's coming. You have a lot of legit reasons out there. And then you add on groups of individuals who just want a recession because they want to go ahead and invest their money and get assets for cheaper prices. And then you have some people who, for political reasons, want the economy to crash so their folks can get elected into office. And you throw in all these different things, and you're going to have a lot of people talking about a 2020 recession and what it could mean and how bad it could potentially be and why there's going to be a 2020 recession. When you throw in all those different things, man, it's just the way it is, guys. So who knows if we'll have one? I feel about the same as I felt 6 or 7 months ago. It's probably about a 70% chance we have a recession in 2020, probably about a 30% chance we don't. I can't say for 100% certainty either way, okay? It's just the way it is. But anyways, let me know what your opinion is. Are we going to have a recession in 2020? Are we not going to have a recession? I would really love to hear from all you guys that watch this video in that comment section. A lot of people are going to watch this video, so I really want to hear your guys' opinion in the comment section. I'll be reading through it. Make sure you smash the thumbs up button as always and share this video with somebody who might think it's interesting. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.